Coming up on District Wire News, breaking news, we are watching for a verdict in the appeal case for college student Amanda Knox, accused of murdering her roommate in Italy. We've got the update straight ahead.
And protesters hit the streets of D.C. in response to the New York Wall Street protests. We'll tell you what they're upset about. District Wire News starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Laura Olson.
And I'm Faith Sagai. American college student Amanda Knox finished her final plea for freedom this morning in Italy. We are still waiting to find out the verdict. It's expected to come out any time now. CNN's Cheryl Castro in Italy with the latest.
I have never done the things that they say I've done.
Fighting back tears, Amanda Knox made a final plea for her future. A 4-year-long legal saga wrapped up in a few emotional moments in an Italian courtroom Monday morning. Amanda Knox's appeal is now in the hands of 8 jurors.
I want to go back home.
Knox and her former boyfriend Raffaella Sollecito were convicted of killing her British roommate Meredith Kircher in 2007. Prosecutors maintain they brutally murdered Kircher during a drug-fueled sex game. Knox and Sollecito's appeals are based on highly controversial forensic evidence involving DNA collected from the murder scene, evidence that experts for the defense discredited during proceedings. While the world awaits the jury's decision, Kircher's family had this to say.
Meg has been almost forgotten in all of it. The media photos aren't really of her. There's not a lot about what actually happened in the beginning. So it's very difficult to kind of keep her memory alive in all of this.
The jury can uphold Knox's original conviction, increase her sentence to life in prison, reduce her 26-year prison sentence, or overturn her conviction altogether. If she's acquitted, Knox could go free immediately.
I want to go back to my life.
I'm Cheryl Castro reporting.
Amanda Knox was studying abroad in Italy when she was accused of killing her roommate. Over 50% of American university students choose to study abroad, but don't always consider the risks. Students and faculty at the AU Law School were warning abroad students to be more careful. Rachel Bay has more.
A law student and a professor here at the Washington School of Law is waiting for the Amanda Knox trial to unfold while sharing their thoughts on how we should behave abroad.
Well, I actually did study abroad in Italy, so this is kind of interesting. And I think that you always have to be aware of the local laws when you're traveling, and I think that she put a lot of faith into the fact that she felt she was innocent, so she didn't have to take things seriously, and I think you always need to. I think culturally they have a very different system, so I would still travel. I would not be hesitant to travel.
Professor Stephen Wormiel also believes students who go abroad should always respect local laws.
Well, I mean, I think when, if you're a student studying abroad, you have to remember that you're subject to local laws and different systems. We tend to think that as U.S. citizens we're somehow bulletproof. Or
It doesn't only apply to students. Anyone traveling abroad should follow the same rules as they do at home. This is Rachel Bay in Washington, D.C. for District Wire News, signing off.
Growing protests in Wall Street underway in New York, Occupy D.C. is its sister protest, but with less of a turnout. Sarah Parnas has more on the story.
The people of New York City came out in droves this weekend to protest what they're calling corporate greed. With 700 arrested on Sunday, the movement has clearly disrupted life as normal in the Big Apple. But here in D.C., the movement has not exactly caught on yet. Only 10 people showed up to the Occupy D.C. rally in McPherson Square this morning. Organizers blamed the cold.
It's freezing. It's really, really cold.
And going to work.
Numbers are down because, contrary to what some people believe, most of us have full-time jobs. So it's hard to get people out early on a Monday morning when a lot of us are headed to work with everyone else.
One thing is clear, the movement will need more manpower if they want Washington to take notice. But Mark Horowitz, a government expert in international affairs, has hope for Occupy D.C.
I'm hoping that it turns out to be something good. Whether it's going to be like an Arab Spring, we'll see.
He was on his way to work this morning, but
I might be out there hanging out, giving support, sending them pizzas or something like that. But I mean, I think everybody does it in their own way.
To build their numbers, the group is speaking with locals, handing out flyers, and holding open meetings twice a day. They started just 6 days ago, but Micah Bales is happy with the progress they've made.
I'm convinced this movement's growing. We're finally getting some press coverage, which is great. On the metro ride over here, I saw someone reading an article about the movement in New York, so that's really a positive sign for me.
The group will hold their next meeting at 6 o'clock this evening. From K Street in Washington, this is Sarah Parnas with District Wire News.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney says President Obama should apologize to former President George Bush. President Obama announced al-Qaeda leader and American citizen Anwar al-Awlaki was killed in an airstrike in Yemen last Friday. Cheney supports this killing, but says the tactics used were similar to that of the Bush administration. Obama is accusing Bush for overreacting to the events and ignoring American values.
The U.S. Supreme Court is starting its new term today. 49 of the major cases are confirmed, but as many as 36 could be added in the coming months. Cases include a trial between the FCC and Fox Networks about the indecency of television, the process of repealing a death penalty sentence, and police strip search. And also, on schedule, waiting to be added are cases about gay marriage and health care reform.
The Massachusetts man who tried to bomb the U.S. Capitol and Pentagon with a toy airplane last week has his detention hearing today. Undercover agents arrested Razwan Verdo on charges of attempting to destroy federal buildings and supporting al-Qaeda. Prosecutors plan to ask Verdo to be held without bail.
The inspection team at the Washington Monument is resuming inspections today after strong weekend winds. Engineers spent weekend inspecting the monument for cracks. On Saturday, an engineer was thrown off the monument due to strong winds but remained uninjured. New safety regulations are being made since the incident. Initial inspections are set to be finished Tuesday, but are now uncertain.
The construction of a metro line to Dulles Airport is being delayed. Metro rail crews were nearly 6 months behind schedule. The Dulles Rail project is also close to running out of money. The project might have to raise extra cash from Virginia toll roads. The Silver Line is now set to open in June of 2014.
One of the nation's largest banks is rolling out a new monthly fee. This time, they are charging customers to use their debit card. CNN's Christine Romans has more on the story.
$5 a month. That's how much it'll cost Bank of America customers to make purchases with their debit cards. It's set to take effect in 2012, and customers are already voicing their displeasure.
Not too psyched about it, and that's why I'm switching.
The fee will not apply if you only use your debit card at ATMs or have a premium account with a high minimum balance. Why the new fees? A Bank of America spokeswoman says, quote, "The economics of offering a debit card have changed with recent regulations." The regulation they're referring to is the Durbin Amendment. It goes into effect on Saturday, and it reduces the amount of money banks charge merchants every time a debit card is used to make a purchase. It'll drop from 44 cents to between 21 and 24 cents. Now that difference may seem like pennies, but it's expected to cost banks $6.6 billion in revenue per year, according to Javelin Strategy and Research. And B of A isn't the only bank making changes. Chase and Wells Fargo are testing $3 monthly debit card fees in select markets. SunTrust started charging a $5 debit card fee on basic accounts this summer. And Regions Financial is expected to roll out a $4 fee on debit cards next month. With the latest regulation, along with legislation from Congress last year shutting down the bank's fee machine of overdraft charges, financial institutions are finding new ways to generate income. But all these new fees are leaving customers jaded.
It is a matter of very little time before they send you a notice that they're tacking on a fee in another way.
Christine Romans, CNN, New York.
Coming up next, trial of Michael Jackson's doctor continues with the pop star's household staff taking the stand today. Revealing testimony might change the fate of the doctor Conrad Murray. A full report from California after the break.
And some good news for American University students who want to find an internship. The university gets a top ranking. We'll explain after this break.